Welcome on into the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson. It is a beautiful, beautiful June 6th, a Friday edition of the Big Factor. Weather not as warm as it's been, guys, but this is going to be an electric factory for this next hour on the Big Factor. Fellas, how are we doing today? There's so much to talk about.
Yeah, guys, I mean, I'm not even going to start with basketball. We have Dr. Pfaff for the first time ever today. Not to blow the cover, coming up later in the show. And Ryan, I'm very, very excited.
Yeah, I can't wait to debut that segment. I'll explain it when we get there. We got a little bit of while to get there. Rob, Nick, how we doing before we jump in on this Friday?
Game one was exciting, so I'm excited for Dr. Pfaff. Excited, though, to break down some sports before we get into that. Obviously, we got game one. We got Aaron Rodgers on the Steelers, which finally happened, officially official, as they like to say. So, packed Big Factor today.
What's up, Rob?
Definitely not a slow news day yesterday. Went to the Winking Lizard last night.
Ooh,
Great East.
I saw that. What'd you get?
I got a burger. They had a deal. I think it was for like $8.
Was it yummy?
Of course, bro. Of course. Got a couple beers. I'm a little sore from the workout the other day. We're gonna have to lock in before the weekend. Got to make sure I keep my 30-point streak going in the men's league. But I'm ready to talk ball with the boys today.
We need Winking Lizard as a sponsor. That place
would
is
be tough.
absolutely goated, by the way. Shout out to the one in Mactown. I know Nick and Rob know what I'm talking about. All right, let's dive into it because we have so much to talk about today. News broke yesterday at the ripe age of 41. Aaron Rodgers is signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think early this morning around 5 a.m. they announced that he has signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers, so he'll be there at their start of their involuntary minicamp. Aaron Rodgers is heading into year 21 of his illustrious Hall of Fame career. Steelers never wavered in their belief that Rodgers eventually would sign them. That's according to Adam Schefter. Last season, Rodgers obviously played with the Jets. 3,897 yards, 28 touchdowns, but 11 interceptions. That's not like Aaron Rodgers. He has a career interception percentage of 1.4%. That's That's the best mark of any quarterback ever who has 1,500 plus passing attempts. Aaron Rodgers, the newest member of the AFC North.
Yeah. I know that the popular thing, I didn't have an opportunity to watch like Good Morning Football or Get Up or anything this morning. I feel like the popular thing is going to be for people to kind of bash the Steelers for this. Rodgers is 41. His time with the Jets didn't work out that well. I don't know. I think something about giving the voodoo magic worker Mike Tomlin, who finds a way to have a winning season and make the playoffs every year, a quarterback that last year looked like a top 10 quarterback in football, and when he decides to retire, he's going to be fitted for the gold jacket sight unseen. I think the Steelers are going to be pretty good next year. And that's just another hurdle for the Browns to clear here.
I think there's gonna. I want to see another move out of that for me before I'm like it's gonna super work. I still think the offense is a little depleted, but I mean if Caleb Johnson can turn out to be that big bruising back, I know a couple of us wanted him in Cleveland, but if he's that guy that's carrying that ground game, then, I mean, Aaron Rodgers won't have to do much with a defense like that. So seeing him also get a weapon like that with DK Metcalf and Pat Freiermuth also on the offense could be a little bit of trouble. It's definitely going to be interesting to see.
I don't know. It's interesting, guys. Like I know Gabe Davis walked away from his meetings in Pittsburgh without a contract, but I think that makes so much sense. Now, that could be a dangerous offense. They have two fun, young running backs. You add in DK, like you just said. I mean, I don't know. Mike Tomlin finds a way to make it work every single year. You know, all his quotes, the standard is the standard. Doesn't matter how you make the hot dog, it's that the hot dog tastes good, right? You get to the playoffs every single year. But the thing is, he said things are going to be different. That was the difference this year after they got blown out in the playoffs in the presser. It was a clear, different tone out of him. Like, hey, we can't just run this back and do this every single year. But they choose once again to bring in an old vet quarterback. So I don't know how it's going to go, guys.
It's just one of those teams where I expect everything to go the best instead of the worst. That's just kind of how it works for them. So I'm just expecting him to get that same production, maybe even less interceptions out of Rodgers this year. So maybe you're looking at like 30-5.
He only threw 11 last year,
That's
bro. You know, like you sign up for 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 11 picks. Like, as a Browns fan, where do I sign? You know, and I get like it comes with the McAfee appearances and some of the off the field stuff, but the Steelers are the textbook stable organization. Like, it wasn't Aaron Rodgers' appearances on the Pat McAfee show that made the New York Jets suck last year. Like, I do think he's going to elevate the Steelers from what they were last year, and they won 10 games with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. So as a Browns fan, it does kind of feel like par for the course. Like, the Steelers are going to be good, but I think the one silver lining that Cleveland fans can find in this is the fact that for Pittsburgh, it delays the inevitable. It delays the fact that you're not going to see Will Howard on the field for the Steelers this year. They didn't draft Shedeur Sanders. He's in Cleveland, so they eventually need to find their quarterback of the future. Some people thought it could have been Jackson Dart late in the first round. Like, it is still just kicking the can down the road for the Steelers.
Is this kind of a immovable force versus unstoppable object in a way, because you have the Steelers who are like the Patriots in a way where like there's never anything that comes out about them, like everything stays in-house, no bulletin board material goes out, and then you have Aaron Rodgers who does go on McAfee every single week and makes these like wild statements about his team and his coaches. Like, which one's going to finally give up on it, do you guys think? Do you think like Aaron Rodgers shuts up a bit or no?
I think they just kind of deal with it. That's what they've always done. The players always talk out there. Like the past couple years, you have your Pickens, your ABs. Even when Big Ben was there, he was going to the media and doing his things, talking about teammates. So, I mean, I'm sure it still goes, but I just know Mike Tomlin's that dude that demands so much respect that regardless of what's happening in the media, you're going to listen to him and get it done during the week. I also think, Nick, though it does kick the can down the road, this might be best case scenario. If they believe in Will Howard, you don't have to just necessarily throw him out on the field immediately so he gets a year to learn. And then maybe if Rodgers doesn't pan out, you go to him next year. Or if he could play 2 years, he just gets to keep learning and seeing what he's doing. But I don't know. It just seems like the Steelers are always winning.
It does, and that is the one. Like when I knew that everybody knew that this was coming down at some point, but like when I saw the Adam Schefter tweet with the jersey swap and it's Rodgers in the Pittsburgh, I just felt sick because like this is the purest thrower of the football, and I don't mean to like glaze Aaron Rodgers because he has had his distractions and the time in New York was not pretty. But this is a guy that's literally, if he decided to be done 10 years ago, he would be heading into Canton. And here we go again, where they just fall into a perfect situation. And here we are trying to pick which one of the four lesser options we're gonna roll with.
I do think that Aaron Rodgers is an upgrade from Justin Fields and from Mason Rudolph, who was slated to start from Russell Wilson. I think he's better suited for that offense than they were. But it still to me seems like a very lateral-ish move. I don't think he really upgrades that ceiling that Steeler fans are going to hope for. Like at the ripe age of 41, there is very, very few, and everybody talks about the last time the Steelers won a playoff game. Like 40-year-old quarterbacks winning playoff games is very rare if your name isn't Tom Brady, right? And when you look at the offense, you got rid of Pickens. I get you got DK Metcalf. If Caleb Johnson is good, that's going to make that offense so much better between him and Jaylen Warren. It's still going to be the team that you're going to have to rely on defense to get wins with J.J. Watt. Peyton Wilson, I expect to take a step up. Cam Hayward, those guys. I would have liked this move a lot more if you drafted Jackson Dart rather than Derek Harmon in the first round, and this was kind of your mentor bridge gap year for the Steelers. The only quarterbacks 40-plus to win a playoff game. Brady did it 10 times.
Different.
Wow. The only other quarterbacks,
That's insane.
Only other quarterbacks, Drew Brees, and I'd give you guys $1,000 if you could name one of the other two quarterbacks that won a playoff game. And Brett Favre, sorry, but the other two quarterbacks that have won a playoff game at 40-plus. To me, this just seems like a very lateral move. I think it's a more so kind of a copy-paste with more exciting headlines.
Peyton.
I still don't know. I still don't think that this move is going to win them a playoff game. And if you're the Steelers, I think it's going to be a continuation of a maybe playoff appearance, a plus 500 season, but you're still going to have the same questions you do heading into next year that you had this season of who your future quarterback is, whether that's Will Howard. But now it kind of seems like because you're going to be 500, because you're going to be winning games, you're not going to get a point to where you're going to identify a perfect spot to shift to give Will Howard that opportunity. And I actually think it's going to hurt him in the long run more than it's going to help him.
Peyton Manning was just washed up like that.
The other quarterbacks were George Blanda.
Okay.
And at 43 years old, Vinny Testaverde.
Yeah.
I did say, give me Testaverde.
So
man.
to me, I think the move makes sense, but I don't necessarily think it's a move that is going to put them over that hump to win to get them to win their playoff game. Since I think the first time since 2018.
But Ryan, you ever hear the old adage like those who live in glass houses can't throw stones? Like the fact that they're always in the play, like. I'd love to be in that spot, and there's an argument to be made that maybe the Browns are doing the smarter thing and Myles Garrett said it, in this league, you're nothing if you don't have that young blue chip quarterback. For the most part, that's true. However, I just find myself to be jealous of the team that the Browns are forced to face 2 times every year, continually finds ways to make themselves relevant, to make themselves in a positioned to contend, even though it probably is. They'll win 10 games and they're going to bow out in the wild card round like they've done for the last how many years.
But it's like, what if they don't? That list of all the quarterbacks we named, Aaron Rodgers, when it's all said and done, is going to be mentioned in the name of those guys that were able to win at 40. And though he hasn't done it, he's got the injury history and all that. He's included. I mean, what if all of a sudden he's throwing the deep balls to Calvin Austin, and all of a sudden Roman Wilson is the slot guy everyone thought he was going to be out of college, and maybe Rock Taylor pans out and they got this receiving core and they're putting up numbers. For them, it makes sense to bet the 1 year.
It does make sense, and I totally get why they did it. I just don't necessarily think it's going to get them to win a playoff game. Like you mentioned, DK Metcalf, that's the one established receiver that they have that you have proof of concept that is a great receiver. You mentioned the wide receiver room outside of that: Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson, who is supposed to take a step in his second year, got injured late last year. Robert Woods, the corpse of Robert Woods, and Ben Skoranek. Like that's not a sexy wide receiver core. Like you're another year older than Aaron Rodgers. You're not throwing Devontae Adams.
Bro,
Garrett
but look
Wilson.
at the bums that
I
Rodgers.
get it, but I'm saying you still need a lot to happen. You need to win by your defense. I don't think that changes. If Caleb Johnson comes out and looks like a workhorse back, and you compare that with Jalen Warren passing game, that could be good. But it's still going to be the same thing. You're going to have to run the ball well. You're going to have to play good defense. And I just don't necessarily see Aaron Rodgers elevating that offense that much to the point where they look way better than they did last year with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. I just don't see it happening.
Darnell Washington, Fryer move. They got the guys.
They do have the guys. I'm just saying. I think guys 41 years old, it's so uncommon that we're going to see this work out. But it makes sense for the Steelers. Still, I agree. The perfect 1 year rental for them. This comes after 70 days after free agency open, that Aaron Rodgers finally lands a team in the AFC North.
Ryan, I appreciate you trying to make us feel better about it. I do.
It really doesn't scare me much.
Yeah,
I think
this
also
is therapeutic in a way.
I don't see that much difference between a copy and paste formula. Like if we're talking about our Cleveland Browns and nobody's expecting them to do much, and I get it because you have the stigma. It's the Steelers always win and the Browns have always failed, but it's going to be the same formula that it is for the Browns. And if we're not sitting here and saying the Browns are going to be that good, I don't see how you can sit here and say the Steelers are that good. I know Aaron Rodgers is probably still better than Joe Flacco, Shador Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, and all that crew, but outside of that, the pieces on offense are pretty similar in Cleveland. And I think if we're so down in Cleveland, where you're going to have to run the ball down their throats, run these heavy sets, I don't see Pittsburgh being that elevated by a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers.
Ryan, riddle me
I
this.
think Rodgers' stats got to be inflated too, because he also had the second most pass attempts in the NFL last year. So if you take that into account, his stats don't look just as pretty.
Here's the other thing I think, though. It doesn't have to be pretty with that defense. Like if they're stuck in the 20 to 17 game and you give him the ball at whatever, and he's got to go on one drive. He's been mid all game. Like that's the guy. He's gonna be clutch, and now it's like they have that.
Ryan, and to riddle me this, because I'm genuinely curious what you guys would think about this. Say last year for the Browns would have went completely differently. Say Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Jameis Winston were able to have the Browns where the Steelers were. 9-10 wins, get to the wild card, get bounced like what happened the year prior with Joe Flacco, where okay, this is a decent squad, but that quarterback position is just a mess. Wouldn't you take Rodgers in Cleveland? I think they would bring back Deshaun again. A year ago, I wanted Rodgers in Cleveland.
Right now, for this year, I would rather just roll with Pickett, Shador, and Gabriel because I know I'm not going
but
anywhere.
had they won 10 games, though?
But here's the thing. You're winning 10 games, and that's that's not a baseline because 10 games is an insane baseline to have. And the Steelers really do that consistently, but that's where I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to elevate him that much. This isn't so a Steelers take. It's more so of an Aaron Rodgers take.
Fair.
That's fair.
But to your take, I think we would, if we had won and we were, how we never win, so then everyone goes overboard. Like we would have been like, know what, DTR is the future. We need to bring back Jameis, and we just shouldn't have wasted the first couple weeks of the season. But the defense is still just so. If you go and take a look at their defense, bro, it's just. And if you could get a little bit out of any of those young receivers, remember the name Rock Taylor too. I think he's a monster out of Memphis. He's just if Rodgers can just give them just those same stats from last year, I feel like that's just a plus for them.
Well, according to Vegas, Aaron Rodgers does make them a little bit better. Their odds of winning the AFC North went from plus 500 to plus 550 to plus 500. Odds to make the playoffs went from plus 150 to plus 140. Guys, Aaron Rodgers made his debut in the year 2005. The top song in 2005, We Belong Together, Mariah Carey and Hollaback Girl Gwen Stefani. The top grossing movie of 2005, Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Okay. And in 2005, Shador Sanders was 3 years old.
That was a good year.
Wow.
That was a lot of good stuff going on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
All right. We got to take a break. When we get back, game 1 of the NBA Finals did not disappoint. The Haliburton strikes again, a game winner for him with 0.3 seconds. Don't know how they do it. Every metric would tell you the Pacers should have lost that game, but that's kind of been their MO throughout the playoffs every single series. We'll talk about game 1 and Tyrese Haliburton's heroics when we get back on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network on a Friday edition. Getting you into the weekend. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson. Before we dive into Tyrese Haliburton's magical heroics yet again in Game 1 of the NBA Finals, we got to tell you about Call It Company's championship, where we'll be at in just a few
we
weeks.
need to keep the clapping going for this, because in 2 weeks time, the Factor will be live from Firestone Country Club Calling Company's championship. It's 1 ticket, 2 experiences. We're telling you guys about it every day leading up to it, because the Factor is going to be live from the Calling Infinity Zone. That's the epicenter of all of the off-course fun when the play is done on the course for the day. When the legendary PGA golfers are done, the Calling Infinity Zone turns into a can't-miss, full-fledged music festival. You could get your tickets today, colleaguegolf.com. Over the past 2 years, the colleague teams raised, clap again, $2.6 million, and given that to over 25 Northeast Ohio charities. So colleaguegolf.com. 2 weeks. Fellas, we'll see you there.
Alrighty.
Wow.
Well, Tyrese Haliburton does the improbable again, guys. It doesn't matter how long you have the lead, as long as you're leading. When the clock strikes 0 with 0.3 seconds left, the Indiana Pacers take the lead 111-110, and that would be all she wrote for Game 1 as Indy steals it in Oklahoma City. OKC forced Indiana to 19 turnovers in the first half. It all looked but over. 24 turnovers total for Indiana. Oklahoma City, only 6 turnovers. The Thunder took 16 more shots than the Pacers, but the Pacers hit 18 three-pointers, including 6 for 10 in that fourth quarter, and that was all they needed. Obi Toppin, 17 points off the bench, 5 for 8 from 3. All starters in double digits. This was a classic Pacers game. Come back from behind. They do the improbable again. And Tyrese Haliburton right now, another game cementing one of the greatest playoff runs I've ever seen from a single player. Not only in the last couple years, guys, in my whole entire lifetime.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because he has all the iconic moments now to really wrap it up there. He has 3 buzzer beaters, then he has the one against the Knicks to tie it up where he did the choke symbol. But honestly, I didn't even think he was incredible last night up until that. But like all those other guys were picking it up. Nemhard was awesome down the stretch. Turner, Obi Toppin. Like every single time he plays like that, you just think about like what if that COVID didn't happen and that Dayton basketball team got to make a run in the tournament for Ohio. But man, it's just so crazy. And Haliburton once again just gets it done. Like I don't know what's in the air, like what's going on. They have to have done something or someone sold the devil, Larry Bird. Something going on in that organization is crazy. I don't know what it is, but
What the Haliburton?
we got to get to the bottom of it, right?
Do we keep calling it improbable if it happens every time, bro?
Same as the Guardians.
This is just where this is where I'm at, man. Haliburton, clutchest player I've ever seen in my life. This season,
literally.
statistically, you can't even argue it. He's missed 1 shot in this scenario. It's just automatic. He doesn't miss. The team, they just find a way. Like he's not hitting. He's like 2 for 7 from 3. He's not really doing much till the end of the game. He gets a couple buckets and he hits the game winner. But Obi Toppin, every time the Thunder are right there, they could deliver the punch. They get a dunk. He comes down. He hits a 3. Thomas Bryant, out of nowhere, they're getting momentum. He dunks on someone and he hits a corner 3 the next possession. They're still in the game. Miles Turner, step back corner 3. Off the window, and they're staying in the game. And it's just Shea's having a great game. He's got 38 points, and then there's he gets 2 chances. His signature mid-range shots Little
Clunk.
10-footers, misses them both. They don't get the rebound. He gets it again, misses it again. And when Rick Carlisle, amazing job out of you. You've been coaching your butt off all series. You don't call timeout.
Yes, that's what I was
You
going
don't
to
let
say.
them get set. You get Case and Wallace on Tyrese Haliburton, and he doesn't see him. He pulls up silky smooth. And that's just what they do, man. It's just
Rob,
amazing.
I want to touch on that again real quick because that was so key. Shai misses the mid-range jumper. Rick Carlisle doesn't call a timeout, allows Tyrese to get the ball, take it down court, and hit the game winner. And Tyrese talked about that in his post-game press conference or right after the game on the sideline. He said, Rick Carlisle trusts us in that moment to not call a timeout, to do what we do, what we've been doing all postseason. That's exactly what they did again.
They lose the game if they call timeout because Tyrese was in the torture chamber all night. And
Lou Gents.
if they got it set in
Lou Gents Dort, shout out for Lou Gents
amazing
Dort,
game,
dude.
5 threes. I think he had like 4 steals. This is where they couldn't have played much better, other than if you wanted like a more efficient game from J-Dub. And the other thing, Chet Holmgren was awful last night. Was
carton.
playing soft. It was giving Jared Allen vibes out of him last night. It was ridiculous. I think he had 1 block, like 5 rebounds, about 6 points. They need way more from him. But if you force 24 or 25 turnovers,
19 in the first half.
and you have 7, I was watching, I was like, I don't know how they're still in the game. But it was just they would hit every big shot needed. And for a while, they could never break it. They would gut it to 9. Then it would go back up to 13, 14. Down to 8. Then it was starting getting down to 6. They just kept fighting away at it. But OKC could just never put them away, but that's how they get. Jack said it best. They'll look like the best team ever for stretches, but then they'll just look super regular. And when it's tight late in the game, I don't know who could beat the Pacers.
Have we, this year especially, it seems as though we talk about the Boston Celtics, the one game throwing up 63s. Like, Oklahoma City Thunder were the better team throughout that entire first half. And a lot of the times in the second half, too. But it's the 3-point shot, and obviously no shit, Ryan, 3's more than 2. But my point being is the Pacers have made their 3-pointers at an outrageous clip, really historic clip. And then the Thunder just 11 for 30. That what did them in the game 1.
And that's what everybody talked about with Indiana. Like, before the playoffs even started, it was just the ability to score and to go on these runs where they can't miss. Like, this, the proof is in the pudding, and Rob said it.
But they
But
weren't hitting them in the first
they
half.
weren't hitting them in the regular season, but people knew, like quietly, that was a conversation that was being had of if Indiana scores at the clip that they're able to, which is just historic, never been done before, never been stopped, then the NBA could be in trouble. And that exact scenario is what manifested. And now we see the Pacers up 1-0 as 10-point underdogs, by the way, in that game
spread
1.
was the freest line I had ever seen in my life. That was
Free.
ridiculous.
Yeah, Nick, the parlay.
The parlay hit
yeah.
$100 last night. So shout out the
and-
Factor.
and
Fund.
shout out-
Factor 2 for 2 on
Factor 2
SGPs.
for 2 on
That's
SGPs.
ridiculous.
And shout out Rob Watson, who on yesterday's show said that the Pacers were
Pacers
going to
money
steal
line.
game 1, and that's exactly what they did. All right, we got to take another break. When we get back, we're flipping it over to baseball. Guardians blanked in the Bronx.
Hashtag
Not a good outing for the bottom 6 through 9 for the Cleveland Guardians. A lot of questions regarding that. We'll talk about it when we get back on the Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan, Tyler, Jack Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson, as well as our great friends at Fairway Ford. Fairway Ford is the largest Ford truck dealership in the entire state of Ohio. They have the largest selection of Ford F-150s and Super Duty trucks. You can see right up there, employee pricing for everybody. You pay less than what they pay. Pre-tariff pricing on all Fords with over 500 in stock. Quite literally, your dream vehicle could be in Canfield, Ohio right now as we speak. So don't let that short drive prevent you from saving literally thousands of dollars on your new ride. Fairway Ford, the largest inventory of new Ford trucks, the lowest pricing and same hometown level of service. Scan that QR code now or go give their website a visit, fairwayfordohio.com. Again, that's fairwayfordohio.com. And also, we will be live from Canfield, Ohio at Fairway Ford doing a live edition of the Big Factor. Nick, I believe that's June 29th, is it? One of those days.
27th.
27th, Friday, June 27th. We'll be doing a live show at Fairway Ford. Going to get some awesome content. Can't wait to do it. All right, guys, the Cleveland Guardians last night blanked in the Bronx. They lose 4-0. Max Fried with the gem. 6 innings pitched, 1 hit. Funny enough, it was that little hit from Jose Ramirez that really shouldn't have been a hit. 2 walks, 7 Ks. Max Fried is right now the favorite for Cy Young in the AL, I would imagine. 8-1, 1.78 ERA, 77 strikeouts, and a sub-1 whip. Slade Ciccone on the mound yesterday. 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks. We'll start with this, guys. Guardians 6-9 hitters, Gabriel Arias, Bo Naylor, John Kenzie Noel, and Will Wilson, a combined 0 for 11 with 4 strikeouts. Noel on the season's batting 150, 173 OBP, 230 slugging, 33 strikeouts. That's simply not going to cut it.
That's like minor league stuff.
No, it's not good. And it's tough because we don't get to see the left-handed lineup as often as the right-handed lineup. I know we've caught him a couple times this week now with Rodon and Fried, but I mean, you see those two guys who are always tough traditionally. You had Skubal a couple of weeks ago, but I don't know, man. It's time for a couple of changes. Junk, they do have a deal running this weekend at Urban's Pint House in Columbus. I'd love to go down with you. We can take a trip together. Feel free to hang on down there for a while, man. I mean, it's just time to send him down. I feel bad for the guy at this point. Like, you're putting him up there. They're non-competitive at bats. I don't know. Honestly, I think it's time for Rocchio to come back up. As much as people might laugh at that, he's killing the ball right now in Columbus, and you got to make a change somewhere. I'm not saying Arias needs to go down, but I think there's a way you can juxtaposition everything where Arias, who's played outfield before, can maybe even take some of those right field at bats that you were giving to Jonk previously. I mean, you can still play him every day in some capacity, like moving around second short. Same like what you do with Angie in the outfield spots, kind of like no one concrete spot, but he's playing every day. It's getting ugly. I mean, and Will like when Rocchio's playing this well in Columbus, there's just not like one reason you could give me why Will Wilson should be on the roster. Like, I get it with like Juan Brito, you can't like not give him the daily at bats. I know he's hurt right now, but like why is Will Wilson taking 20 at bats on the week? Can anyone give me literally one reason?
Who is Will Wilson?
Thank you.
Mic drop. Well, if there's any silver linings, I suppose maybe a couple here. Jose continues to be Jose, having an MVP type campaign. If it wasn't for Aaron Judge.
But I will say, like, there's a piece of me now, and this is like the jaded Clevelander in me. It really is. Like, I see Jose being as awesome as he's being, and I find myself getting pissed off, really, because these are all wasted outings. Like, every time you get a legacy game out of Jose where he's hitting home runs or doubles off the wall, like, and you don't win, and you're not even, do you not win, you're getting blanked 4-0 in New York against the Yankees. Like, it actually makes me even more mad because you're Mike Trouting this guy almost, and obviously Jose's been to a World Series and has been to the playoffs consistently, but I want to win a World Series with this guy on the roster, and I don't know that the ball club is dedicated to making the moves required in order for that to happen.
And you hit on it perfectly too, because not even just wasting Jose, but in a year when really the last 2 years you've struggled to find consistent starting pitching for any stretch of time, whether it's giving up a low total of earned runs or just simply getting innings in the first place. And Slade's ERA in spring training was like 1,433, and he's been awesome since he got here. He didn't get rewarded in Detroit for it. I think it was 2 weekends ago now. And I don't know, like yesterday, gives up 2 runs early. I get it. Bases loaded, gets out of it, had the double play to get the first 2 outs. Like, man, like, you can't waste these opportunities, especially when you're getting them out of the guys who you don't expect. Like, there's certain things where it's like, okay, like, you take a mental note. I know he's performing really, really well right now, but like, when Daniel Sheeman hits a three-run home run, you're like, okay, we got to win this game because Daniel Sheeman hit a 3-run home run. Like, you got to at least put up a fight, you know? Like, what did you say, 6-9 went 0 for 11? Like, that's just, that can't happen. I think David Fry was hitting 5th, and I think he went 0 for as well. I don't know if you want to add that in there, but
chill, relax.
I forgot that's your goat, my bad.
Well, the Guardians' road record drops to 16-17. They're 6.5 games back from the Detroit Tigers. Doesn't get any easier in the next coming days. Houston Astros, who are leading their division, come into town for a series against their Cleveland Guardians. What do you expect out of that, Jack?
Who's on the mound tonight? I'm actually not sure.
Well, that's a great question.
That's
for
a great
ESPN
question. That's where we can start.
Tell me. Give me a second.
Because Ryan, we've actually had a good rate this week of picking the winner loss in the morning.
Oh, it's
Logan
LTA.
Allen.
Oh, it's LTA day?
Yeah.
Oh, guys, we're back. We're fine.
Who's Colton Gordon?
We're going to find out
No
at
idea.
about 7:10.
Jack, is there any options left for Junk?
Yeah. He's got a couple of options. I think right now makes a ton of sense. I mean, sometimes they like to wait for getaway days, which we don't really have here, or for a Monday because Monday is the travel day for trip or like minor league players in general. So like that's when it's easiest to make those moves, or like on a Sunday kind of. But it's got to be right now, man, because like he's not getting enough at bats to go out there and like consistently tweak or fix things. Like he's playing somewhere between like 12 and 18 at bats a week, probably top. So you can't really give him more space to work with it because you got to learn about these young kids. You got Nolan Jones in right field as well right now. Angel Martinez is playing awesome. He's got to stay in the lineup. Steven Kwan. Like there's only a limited amount of outfield spots you have when you have Carlos Santana, David Fry, and Kyle Manzardo taking up everything at DH and first base. So it's not going to be up here. And if you don't think as highly of Jonathan Rodriguez, it's just got to be him. Or if you give DeLauder a shot against lefties, he can hit him sometimes.
All right, well, the Guardians got to keep poking that voodoo doll, as Jeff Passan says. We got to take another break. When we get back, we're debuting a brand new segment
Oh,
here
it's
on the Big
already
Factor.
time.
Paging Dr. Pfaff, the Love Doctor, joins us for his segment on the Big Factor. Fans from across the country have submitted their questions to help Dr. Pfaff fix their problems. We'll debut that when we get back here on the Big Factor. Hey, everybody, welcome on back into the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, and now joining us on the Big Factor is Dr. Pfaff. Before we dive into all of the questions that the people want advice for from Dr. Pfaff, I got to tell you about our friends over at Garage Beer. Garage Beer comes in just 2 flavors, classic light lager as well as classic lime. No frills, no bitterness, no IPAs, guys. This is just beer-flavored beer the way you want it. Visit their website, drinkgaragebeer.com, to find local retailers who sell garage beer near you. Scan that QR code. Again, that's drinkgaragebeer.com. Well, we've come to Paging Dr. Pfaff, a new segment we have here on the Big Factor. Fans from across the country who watch our show have submitted questions about their love lives. They want advice from one Dr. Pfaff. Doctor, before we dive into these questions, why don't you tell me a little bit about your background? How did you become this so-called love doctor?
Absolutely. Went to school at Harvard and got a PhD there. I got my PhD there in helping people find love, and now I'm doing it every day as my current job.
Well, Dr. Pfaff, we couldn't thank you enough for coming onto our program. The people have submitted questions that they want your advice, your help to improve their love lives, basically. And we'll start here. A question. This one comes from Shelly from Sioux Falls, North Dakota. She writes, "Hey, Dr. Pfaff.
Shelly.
I caught my boyfriend staring at my mom's ass. I want to confront him about it, but I'm not sure how to bring it up. What should I do?"
Hi, Shelly. I've heard of this situation before. It's never a good thing when you have a boyfriend staring at the mom's ass. No doubt about that. I think you should confront him. You should bring that up to your boyfriend. See if anything's happened with him and your mother. And if anything has, you make that decision. But if it is not, you guys can talk about it in a good, consensual way and figure it out together.
Alrighty, thank you for that, Dr. Pfaff. We'll move on here. This question comes from Lance. He's writing into the Big Factor from Scranton, Pennsylvania. He says, "Hey, Dr. Pfaff, my girlfriend told me recently that she wants to experiment in the bedroom. I bought whipped cream and a snorkel, and she hasn't spoken to me since. Do you think it was the snorkel?"
Sorry, what was his name again?
Lance.
Lance. Scranton's a great town, Lance. I'm not sure if it was the snorkel that did it or what, but you got a conversation coming up, man. Maybe try the snorkel again, but I mean, you got to talk to her about that one, man. I don't know what to tell you, Lance.
So this one, weirdly, a little bit of Cleveland sports involved in this one, because I think maybe the fans wanted some of that. So Torian Berea writes for Dr. Pfaff. "So I asked my man when we got intimate for the first time, so getting a little bit personal here, Joey, if he would use protection. And when he came back into the room from the restroom, all he had on was a Jedrick Wills jersey. Would you move forward with this man in the bedroom?"
Look, I don't know if you've ever seen Jedrick Wills play football, Tori. Get out of there immediately. That man is a travesty on the field, and if any man has that jersey, get away from him as fast as you can.
All right, Dr. Pfaff. This one comes in from a fan in Saginaw, Texas.
Wow.
Darnell wants to know,
Okay.
"Hey, Dr. Pfaff, my girlfriend," excuse me, this comes from Darnell, okay. "She keeps my girlfriend, that is, keeps calling me daddy in bed, and now I can't look at my actual father without cringing.
Oh, jeez.
Do you think therapy is the proper next step, or should I just invest in noise-canceling headphones?"
Darnell, you have to feel like the dad in the relationship a little bit, man.
Oh, wow.
And then when when you get called that, you got to just take it on the chin and, roll with it.
Take it on the chin.
And then when you look at your dad, just act like you never got called daddy before, Darnell. So, it's not much of an answer there, just kind of more me thinking. So good luck with that. I don't know how to help you there, Darnell.
Dr. Pfaff, Candace in Rocky River has a question. Is it okay that she got an ick? So she's been seeing this man for a while now, and every single time that they're intimate together, he chooses to thank her after. Is that ick okay? Like, is that fair or foul?
I think, I don't know. That's a good question because he's trying to be polite and respectful, of course, saying thank you. Nothing wrong with manners. I can see where the ick is coming from a little bit. I don't know if you want a man thanking you, but, try to roll with the punches a little bit for the time being. Maybe tell him to stop saying thank you and maybe get you a gift or something to show his thanks. So,
what kind of a gift would you get to show thanks?
Did she mention how long they've been together?
Candace did. 2 months.
2 months.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Brand new, but thanks every single time.
Right. Thanks every single time. Maybe a dinner would be good. Candace's 2-month boyfriend would be a good idea. Just take her out, and then she can say thank you to you, and then it can be mutual in the thanks.
All right, Dr. Pfaff, this is the last one I have for you. This comes from Wade from Hazen, Arkansas. He says, "Hey, Dr. Pfaff, my girlfriend says I need to be more in tune with her body. Every time I try to explore, she giggles like I'm tickling a haunted house. How do I stay sexy when she's laughing like Scooby-Doo?"
Is it shocked?
I got nothing here. Ryan, I went to Harvard, never heard this. I got nothing for you guys here.
That wasn't on the review guide?
What was her name?
It was Wade.
It was Wade, right, it was Wade.
His girlfriend keeps laughing like Scooby-Doo.
Wade. Good luck, man. I got nothing for you. Good luck.
All right, Wade, we will refund your Patreon submission.
I'm sorry, Wade.
Jack, do you have any more for Dr. Pfaff?
No, I think I'm out. think I'm out.
Well, Dr. Pfaff, we can't thank you enough for coming on. We'll have more questions. Anytime you want to submit a question to The Big Factor, you can send them on X, Instagram. You can send them anywhere at The Big Factor. And Dr. Pfaff will do his best to ensure that he can help you maintain a healthy, loving, and beautiful relationship. We got to take a break.
Awesome.
When we get back, we're going to wrap up The Big Factor. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are beefing. We'll talk about that when we get back on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back into The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan, Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson, and a huge thank you again to Dr. Pfaff for coming on and helping our fans figure out their love lives. And that's what he's here for. Hope to have him on again. So submit your questions at The Big Factor if you want Dr. Pfaff's help. Guys, a couple that needs Dr. Pfaff's help. That's Elon Musk and Donald Trump. News went viral after Elon Musk basically dropped the bomb that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. This comes after Donald Trump and Elon Musk have kind of bumped heads on a little bit. Doesn't agree with everything the Doge was set out to do. Elon Musk doesn't appreciate that. He's kind of flipped his head on this whole stance. Him and Donald Trump are no longer together, and J.D. Vance is left with divorced parents.
Yeah, that's what they say. You know, the mom and the dad try so much to hurt each other, but it's really the kids that end up in the middle of it. I sadly do think in this case, you know, the kids are, poor, regular people of this country that kind of have to watch our political arena, should I say, be, played out publicly on Twitter like it's Nordonia drama at circa 2015.
Yo, you remember the pages that used to post all the They would
That's what it reminded me of.
It was one of those. They would have whole school would follow them and they would just post drama and it'd be like, who sent the screenshots, man? And then they just be leaking all type of stuff.
Shout out my buddy Kyle. He posted on Twitter. He's like, this reminds me of when Kanye West dropped the bomb and posted a picture of Chris Paul and said, this is who's sleeping with Kim. That's what it reminded me of.
I will say,
did Nick Castellanos hit a home run yesterday, by the way?
He did not. Well, here's the thing. I think we might have to bet Castellanos today because the game was live when, the game was ongoing when Elon posted that.
Okay.
Now it's live.
So now...
No, he would still do it, though, I think.
There were people live betting it.
Yeah, I think he would still do it, though. I don't know.
It didn't hit. So I think you might have to, because it was live, as Elon put that out, you might have to do it today. And also something too about just living in a simulation. The fact that this is literally one of the wealthiest people and one of the most important people on the planet having this public spat. And it was going on for a smooth 45 minutes. And Aaron Rodgers just out of nowhere decides, my time's now. I love to believe that him and RFK Jr. were in a group chat somewhere just cracking up at the hysterics that took place. I don't know, man. I don't really understand any of this as far as what this world has become. But I've said on this program before, and I truly believe this is what we're getting more of. Get ready for Stephen A. Smith's political campaign here in 2028. It's going to be celebrity politicians from here forward.
Are we going to get Trump versus Stephen A. beef?
The thing is, I don't know that we'll ever get to see the debate because Trump can't.
Who knows
again.
now?
Well, hey man, he be saying he's gonna be the last president ever. Supposedly, that's what I've been hearing.
I will just in
How does that work though?
Drop the optics of because what Rob said is a little bit so drop the optics of all of that. Could you imagine Stephen A. getting up on stage and debating Donald? That would probably be the best debate in the history of debates.
I'm locked, bro.
The ratings for that would be like
Everyone watching the world.
do that and then have Jake Paul fight somebody, and like it would be the most watched
Jake Paul versus
event
Floyd
ever.
Mayweather right
Yeah,
after.
yeah.
What side? This is interesting, guys. What side would LeBron take? Stephen A. or Trump? Doesn't like either.
He's back in a third party. There'd be someone else trying to.
The La China party.
Actually, no,
I
he
think
was-
it's very fitting that Superman is coming out because I've always made this comparison. So get ready in a couple years when an alien from Krypton comes out and has to save our planet, because I've always said that Elon Musk reminds me of a real life Lex Luthor.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
I really think that this is where we're headed in the next couple years.
Didn't he call off though? Because
Good player comp,
he
Brian.
called
Thank
off
you.
like the space stuff for a little bit because
Well, the other dude's doing the space stuff now.
Bezos.
He snatched his chain.
yeah,
he
but
was sending
I don't
celebs.
believe
What are we
it.
gonna do in
That's
space?
a conspiracy.
That was
I don't
fake,
think
though?
that was
Yeah.
fake. Bezos never went up there. That was completely fake.
Was it like the kangaroo AI?
No, I think they
were
just straight
like,
up faked.
They might have
it.
just been in a zero gravity thing, and they
Oh.
had like a lot of editing.
Went to Sky
Dude,
Zone.
because like they
Couple
came
celebs
out and like
up there.
Katy Perry's holding a flower. It's like, well, you couldn't have gone up to space with the flower; it would have disintegrated up there.
That shit was a
the-
horrible, low-budgeted Hollywood.
Yeah,
film.
it was that was incredibly fake. That whole
She
thing
is
was
extraterrestrial.
Why still Bezos send them black SUVs your way? You talking a little crazy.
That's fine, bro.
Yeah,
That's Bezos wants to kill
If
me
that's
every
how,
time.
I know.
Like,
if,
come on.
if
nothing
that's
you can do
ultimately
about it,
how
for
we
real.
go out because of takes that were delivered here on the Big Factor, then
that means we
good way
made
to
it,
go.
man.
yeah. You know what? Then that's the big man above. telling
Meet me
that
at
it's
Burke,
my
Elon.
time.
Meet me at Burke. All right, we got to take a break. We're not taking a break, guys. We're out of time. Appreciate everybody tuning into the Big Factor. Huge shout out to Fairway Ford. Huge shout out to Garage Beer. Remember, Caller Companies Championship will be there in 2 weeks. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be awesome. Go get your tickets at callergolf.com. It's one ticket, 2 experiences. The Infinity Zone is amazing. You'll be able to see us. Be a bunch of celebrities there. It's going to be a great time. We got to head out of here. Everybody have a great, wonderful weekend. Enjoy Game 2 of the NBA Finals. Enjoy the Aaron Rodgers talk that'll be on every national program
Stanley
for the next
Cup.
week.
Stanley Cup Finals.
Stanley
yeah.
Cup Finals. And we'll be back on Monday. Same people, same time, minus Dr. Pfaff. He'll be back next Friday.
Oh,
Till then,
Doc.
we'll see you. Peace.